Hey everyone, this is episode number 3 of Ambitious X Driven. In this interview, I feature Kalang Wu. She grew up in Hong Kong, where she did a lot of projects, lots of sports as well. And then she ended up going to Brown University. There as well, she was coding a lot of things. She was doing mechanical engineering at the time. And she ended up coming to EPFL for a PhD in civil engineering. Um, on the side as well, she was like Swiss national rugby team player in the women's teams, which I think is very impressive to be able to balance this on the side. And she ended up dropping the PhD after 3 years because she first authored a paper and it took like 2+ years for the industry to catch up on that. So it was too slow moving. She ended up joining Palantir. Palantir is a company that kind of does consulting, but not really. Like the engineers are very focused on the business side of things. And they deliver like actual products that are used by customers, and Palantir like maintains this, right? Which is different from typical consulting. And that's where she met Sergey, her co-founder, and they ended up building a company together and going to Y Combinator in the winter 2024 batch. And currently, this company is called Upsolve AI. It's customer-facing analytics dashboards that's also enhanced with AI. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting to have an EPFL PhD drop out. That's something I haven't seen before, and I think it's a very special path, I guess. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Also, I accidentally recorded with my AirPods mic, so my mic is very, very bad. So I'll fix that for next episodes. Sorry about that. So yeah, maybe we can start off with just like growing up. What were you doing? Where did you grow up, and what projects were you doing?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I think a few key traits when I was as a kid is I'm very athletic. I actually fence really well, as well as play really well table tennis. So sports has been a big part of my life, even going into adult life as well. But the other thing is, earlier stage, I was just really good at math and physics, and then chemistry, basically the thing that require logical thinking, analytical thinking, and pretty much go from Hong Kong. I went to study at a high school called United World College, and a special high school movement. There are probably not 20 schools around the world. The whole idea is make school like mini UN. So you get folks from very different, diverse background, different countries, etc., to all study in a boarding school together. And I was so studying abroad in Hong Kong for 2 years, did my IB, and then I moved to the state for my university, and I studied at Brown University before going to Switzerland for my PhD.
uh, what got you started into sports? Like, was it a push from parents or like people you were with, or just naturally, just randomly?
Yeah, I think probably my mom plays some role in it. She likes to bring me around to learn different random things. So I did kung fu, ballet as a kid, and then tennis, table tennis, fencing, as I mentioned. And I just get
Yeah.
quite good at it. And because of that, it's just the peripheral of sports that I touch just kind of expand from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing you're also like quite competitive, or
Let's say I'm competitive in the sense that I love winning, but if I lose, I hate losing. If let's say I don't like the type of losing which is I did not prepare enough and I go in and lose because that's essentially
yeah,
means I could have prepared better. But if I prepared like the best possible extent and I also perform,
yeah,
100% or 110%, and if I lose, then it just means someone else is better. And sometimes, it's also good to lose because then you know someone else better than you, and then you can like catch up on that one as well. So I'm
yeah.
competitive and I don't like losing if I felt like I'm underprepared. That's kind of about me. So
Okay, nice. And then, how did you end up in Brown University? I don't know. I grew up in Brussels, and not many people went outside of Brussels. I don't know if it was the same in Hong Kong, or
yeah, so one of the thing is the Hong Kong education system, at least back then, I don't know now, it was quite spoon fed. So it was one that I want to find somewhere that is more interactive, let's say, not as spoon fed, not as old school. in my United World College I went to. It's just very popular for folks ended up either go to UK or US to study, and I chose Brown
Yeah.
because it's the most liberal, as well as liberal art college in the world. And you get to even make up your own major or main like your own concentration. So it always been a bit of kind of like a dream school for me. So yeah, I applied and got it, and then yeah, decided to go there.
That's sick. Uh, and yeah, like I think I read your LinkedIn post that said you were coding up all night. So it seemed like you're having a great time there. What sort of things were you focused on, or how was Brown in general?
I think so. I studied civil engineering there, and then going into mechanical engineering, specializing in fluid and thermal sciences, and that's actually the reason why I ended up going to EPFL for my PhD because I was studying computational fluid dynamics. But one thing I enjoyed the most at Brown is the fact that since it's a liberal art college, you there wasn't really a major concept until maybe your third or fourth year at uni. What happened there is you ended up making friends from like people could study all the random things as well. And that was the special thing because I felt like I just learned so much, even just by having conversation with my friends, at a lunch and dinner table. So that was like the unique special thing there.
Mhm. And like I guess like I mean going a bit forwards, you went to Palantir, you went through YC. Do you think you found a lot of peers also in high school in Brown who had like this sort of kind of like grind mindset like that you have?
I think so. So, for example, my high school, it typically attract people who, at a young stage, like say, 14, 15, dare to dream, right? Because it's modeled as a mini and a lot of my friends actually flew across the world, and live in Hong Kong. And it kind of mean you just have some dream or some belief that you want to pursue. And I think that essentially extend into grittiness as a way. And I think Brown as well, it wasn't an easy school to get in, and they put a lot of focus on someone's development being all rounded. And so I think that typically also attract driven people who just have aspiration, who are willing to work hard as well. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you think like also because you moved from Hong Kong to Brown, like how is it dealing with like a being a first gen immigrant in like completely different country culture?
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of differences there as well. I think the first month or two, I was just lost. I didn't watch as much, let's say, American TVs growing up, and so sometimes you sit down, all your friends talking about people that everyone knows. I was like, who are these people? Why I haven't met them on campus? And I realized that they were talking about some TV character, right? So that's definitely some differences there. But difference is great. You get to learn from it as well. So.
Okay, cool. Uh, so yeah, like I guess you came to EPFL for the PhD, and I guess mainly because like the lab was like the most interesting for your research, or
Yeah, so the lab I was in was with the area of interest for me. It was in wind energy in numerical simulations. But I actually dropped out. I was 3 years in and I dropped out, so never finished it.
yeah, how did that happen? Like, yeah, what's the story behind that?
Multiple fold, but one of the main driver was that academia was incredibly slow. And so I think during my time, I wrote my paper as a third author on discovering like physical phenomenon. And basically, it took 2 years for the industry to start reading the paper, start talking about it. And I just yeah, it's good that people are talking about it eventually. But like somewhere where things are a lot more fast paced, outcome oriented. I do something, I instantly can see it, impacting someone or some part of the world
Yeah.
per se. So yeah, so that was at least one of the driver for me to drop out from my PhD.
Mhm. Uh, but yeah, like you were like 3 years into the PhD, right? It would have been like how many more years for you to just get the PhD done?
Yeah, so the number of years weren't strict, so I actually don't know how many years I would need from there. But basically, the main thing for me back then was that I already have first author paper, some other, second, third author paper. It's
Yeah.
diminishing gains, economic gain like of scale. for the amount of
Yeah.
time I put in. Like I think if I keep putting in the time, the gain intellectually, it just diminishing so fast. And I know I do not want to be a PI or professor. And so with that, it's like time is my most valuable capital. I do not want to just spend it because the doctor title just almost mean nothing to me. And so there's no point of keep doing it, right? So
Oh, that's impressive. Like, I think a lot of people, the degree makes a big, especially in Europe, the degree is a very important thing to get, like just a piece of paper, right? Um, yeah, I mean, how did you come to this reasoning? Like,
Uh, it's just really thinking about what is my most precious capital, right? It's time. I can never buy back my time. So,
yeah,
and I really felt like I wasn't growing at the pace I want to be. I think the thing I proved we could do in a PhD, it just doing my PhD would just be doing more reps. So what does that really mean? You know, so yeah, so that piece of paper really did not mean anything to me because partially I also felt like I don't need it as well. And
yeah,
actually, I think in tech it's way cooler to tell people you're a PhD dropout than you have a PhD.
yeah. For some reason, yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe I drop out masters as well. We'll see. Okay, like I'm guessing you got pushback from other people, like, oh, how could you drop out PhD, or like, I don't know, even like your family or something.
No, I think what is funny is my parents was like, why are you doing your PhD? It's like it's very Chinese parents mindset. Like PhD is not a thing in Hong Kong parents, or I guess can't speak for all Chinese parents, but in Hong Kong parents is not a thing. It's like their most common profession is banker, lawyer, or doctor. And so they're like, oh, do something. Why are you still being in school? So actually, that was not hard at all. And my parents,
Mhm.
fortunately, I was quite self independent earlier stage, right? I told my parents I want to go to school in the States, got almost a full ride to study at Brown as well. So they trust me in a way. So when I told them I wasn't happy, I wasn't feeling the impact I want to have for the time I'm spending, they were very open
Yeah,
to it as well. Also helped the fact that I told them I have this job lined up at Palantir. And they're like, oh, what to do? I try to
yeah.
explain to them that, I guess. Seems like a cool thing that you're excited. Why not?
Yeah, before we move on to Palantir, you're also like, you're playing in the rugby nationals for Switzerland. I mean, that's quite insane, though. That takes a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, how did you get this passion? And Mhm.
Yeah, so I think when I say earlier, right, I was always sportive kid when I was young. So the whole,
Yeah,
training just keeps going. So I was growing up as well and started playing rugby actually back in the States. I'm a sprinter, so I run fast. And yeah, I just got picked by the coach and then started from there.
okay, and it wasn't like crazy to you that, yeah, I'm gonna be competing in like nationals of Switzerland. Like that's pretty. I think that's quite insane, no?
It's pretty cool. It's cool. But well, so story back was that when I was younger, I fence and I play table tennis, and I was pretty top. Like it was to the point where I was gonna go into attempt to be a professional athlete. In a way that trying to fight a spot for the national team of the fencing team in Hong Kong. If that's the case, like
Mhm.
when I was traveling, if that's the path, in few years, right, it will be Olympics and all of that. So for me, it was kind of like part of the life journey. So it's like, okay, that was not the path. I didn't went down on that, and so for that, it was just kind of it's like a parallel universe. So it wasn't as shocking. It was
Yeah.
just like okay, cool, yeah.
Uh, how do you balance the time? Like, I'm guessing like you're just working all day, no? Or
Uh, I just prioritize. I just precious my time a lot. And I think when people say they train to exercise, etc., it's a lot of the time excuses, right? Like for me, even now, my calendar, I block it. And people know it's sacred,
yeah,
and no one dare to drop something in it. And I don't compromise. People are like, hey, this call can it move that slot? I was like, no. And I think at the end of the day, this priority was important. And again, similar to time where health is something that when it's gone, it's gone. There's no amount of money in the world you can pay to get health. I would say, the same as time. So I try to prioritize that as well as time with my families and friends.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a very refreshing take. Yeah, tell me about Palantir. How did you like? Firstly, how did you like find out about the company? Like, I think that's still quite low key for a lot of students.
Yeah, so I think for me, actually, I didn't realize it until maybe 2 years after working at Palantir. So, because I studied in the States,
Yeah.
Palantir by then was not small in the States, it's like pretty known in a way already. I actually realized the first year of college, I applied there for internship. I don't think I ever heard back from them at all, partially because, I was not American
Mhm.
back then. But how did I hear about Palantir is I actually have quite a few friends from Brown that end up working there. And so have heard a bit of what they do. Yeah, and then I think that the opportunity lands because one of the recruiters reached out to me. And that was when I was thinking about quitting my PhD, and then I was just like, yeah, let's have a call. And then the recruiter explained what they do, and I was like, well, it's actually something that even if I finish my PhD, so the reason why I did my PhD is because always want to be in the intersection between business, engineering, or tech. And basically, the PhD was a need for me to get extremely technical. So then, when you look for more business kind of role, you can be like, hey, I have this technical
Yeah.
skill set. I'll just pick up the business skills, right? So what Palantir back then offer is like relatively technical roles, but with a lot of touch point with users and then business as well. So yeah, it was like a really good role for me. Even if I have finished my PhD, I would probably have considered the same role. So yeah, so the opportunity for so I just went for it.
Yeah, I think Palantir spins out so many founders, and it's because of this like technical people that get exposed to business, right? That
Yeah, I think it's a mix of that, but also, so I was a forward deploy engineer, and nowadays I think forward
Mhm.
deploy engineer, the concept is cool. Back then, no one think it's cool. Back then, everyone, even VC, considers like this is just a consulting business, right? But I think what made Atlantic Palantirans unique is the fact that we flew over the world, side desking, working super closely with customer, and that's how you decome a problem, going from something ambiguous to building something concrete, a product that basically help improve work like someone's life or someone's workflow, etc. So that becomes skill set. A lot of us got trained for many years because that's what is needed. So yes, I think definitely one of the reasons why there's so many founders nowadays that are Palantirians and we're doing quite well as a whole in general is a lot of it resort to the concept of forward deploy engineering.
yeah, and I guess that's also where you met your co-founder, right? Through Palantir.
Yeah, we work together very serendipity, and yeah, we built a product 0 to 1. It was fun. Led the team together, etc. Worked almost 3 years together, and just felt like we gel really well. He finishes my sentence, I finish his thought. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, yeah, that's a great opportunity to like build like a strong trust between the co-founders. Um, yeah. Then tell me about Upsolve. How did the idea start?
Yeah, so the way how it started is if I'm starting a company, the first thing is not the idea, is the person that I'm gonna build it with. And so basically I wanna find someone that I just work so well. And Sergey being someone that I built something from 0 to 1 and then scaled it at really high speed. The way how we work
Yeah.
is just fun. Like when sometimes when shit goes down, it's like, you know what? I always tell him is that, you know what? I'm glad we're in this together. It's fun, even when things are bad. And so with that, basically we end up being in the similar time thinking about potentially starting our company. So we start chatting together. Upstart wasn't the original idea. We actually explored. We actually want to get out of the data space because we're like we deal with data all these years. Maybe we should try something else. And then basically
Yeah.
we thought, well, traveling app, language learning app, and all of that. But there's certain gravity that pull us back into the data world. And at some point we just like, you know what? Find the market fit is a thing. Okay. So yeah, we started there. Actually, at first, the kind of core thing was that AI is now becoming this core, tools. People are really willing to adapt it. And what we saw is that a problem we've seen at Palantir, AI could have automate a lot of that. So this exploration started from there, but then the other core tenants, or like secret source that we felt like we saw Palantir did really well, is the fact that
Yeah.
we use data to enable operational decisions, operational actions. And they Palantir really well for a very big company like Fortune 500 companies, right? And we're like, well, what about for the smaller guys? So the idea is like, okay, the vision of the company is like, do whatever to be the conduit between data and decisions. And then from there, we started talking to a lot of founders because we also have a lot of founders' friends. And the idea there is using AI to automate a lot of the internal analytics. And basically, as we start discovering calls, we have founders that told us it's great, but they want it for their users. So that's how we landed in the whole embedded analytics. And so the ideas start evolving into embedded Gen BI. And so we then went back and built from scratch to go from embedded dashboard, embedded business intelligence. Now we just actually launched our embedded BI 2 days ago, literally through YC as well.
Okay. How does it how are you able to work on an idea which not originally something you wanted to work on?
I feel like the idea, people tends to have a hero perspective of how an idea should looks, right? It's like one day you wake up, you have this hero concept, and then you build it,
Yeah.
and wow, suddenly you have like a unicorn company. But I think if you actually, especially through YC, like you hear a lot about how a company come to be. Like some of the most successful companies did not start with the original idea. If you know the original idea, you will never guess this is the company they become. So for me, it was never a problem there. It's more like, let's find a starting point. And then as you get more clues, more exploration, right? Then you seek the deep truth. And then from there, you go on the next step. And so it's kind of like an adventure. Don't have a set endpoint, but the core tenet for us is being the conduit between data and decision. And however that evolves, like maybe, like we prove it at some point, maybe as well. But yeah, just having a North Star and then journey will follow.
Mm-hmm. And then, okay, 2 more minutes. Yeah, you said time is like the most valuable aspect for you. So I'm guessing like you've been working like super consistently for like the past many years, right? Does it ever do you think it ever takes a toll, or like how do you figure out some things you need to reprioritize?
Yeah, so I think earlier I mentioned I prioritize health, I prioritize my time, I prioritize time with family and friends, and I think
Yeah.
when I was younger I prioritized less with my family and friends, but that gotten better now as we become older and older. That's helpful, and I think the other biggest change is fully knowing is a marathon of sprints, and sometimes it just is okay if I'm gonna end tonight at 8 p.m. You don't need to do it like 2 to 3 a.m. every day, just because you need to make sure you can do that marathon for a very long time. So
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Last question. So you did YC, but who would you not recommend YC to?
I'm not. I think I would not recommend YC to people who aren't actually ready to do the jump and they do it for the sake of recognition because YC is a good brand. So that they actually don't want to start a startup. They do it because all their friends do it and it's a cool thing, if that makes sense. Like I would say, like there are people, I didn't get into YC, so I'm not going to do my startup. And I was like, well, you should not apply to YC to begin with. Like it should just be a decision, and YC is just an enabler per se. So that's what my opinion is.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I wanted to give a shout out to Founderful Campus. They sponsor the Newsletter and podcast, and they run a VC academy for the top students from Swiss universities and invest in the hottest startups in Switzerland. You can go check them out at campus.founderful.com, and yeah, stay tuned for more exciting podcasts. See ya.